compromise your energy. Darling, let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. Alchemize your energy, my friend. Let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, we will always take flight. Keep on pushing through the darkness of night. There's no limit, let's reach for the sky. Shine so bright, from darkness to light.
Welcome to Alchemizing Energy. Today we have a special guest. You know, I like to do a lot of shows about spirituality, but I like to do at least one show where we talk to a lawyer and we discuss current events and we allow, we talk about like certain legal things because, with today's climate, we're seeing a lot of people getting hemmed up with the police, so I always try to bring on my brother Calvin Johnson on. Welcome, Calvin Johnson, to discuss some of the legal ramifications and things that are going on. If you can you turn your camera? Can you turn your camera sideways?
Like this?
There you go. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
So I'm
sorry, y'all.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So, it's a lot of things going on. When I first set up the show, you had Yellow Beezy going in jail. You had the situation with World 3, then you have Big U come up and they got indicted. I mean, and then you have Karmelo Anthony just popped up. So it's like a lot of things going on in the legal field that, I wanted to bring you to the table to like really kind of discuss some of these things and from a legal standpoint and how these things affect us and even how we should even be moving out here. And go ahead.
Yeah, it's a lot going on, and then you got social media trying to tell you probably what you should be doing, and they're giving bad advice. So
they're giving bad advice.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I really want to get into are things like, because since this whole Karmelo Anthony thing, you have this whole, stand your ground, questions about standing your ground. What are the legalities in that such thing? There's certain states that have that law. There's certain states that don't have it. What is the real law about standing your ground?
Well, see, Texas is not really one of those stand your ground states, but they allow you, it's self-defense, right? So there's no duty to retreat, which means it's kind of like stand your ground, but you don't have a duty to retreat from anyone, number one. B, if you're in an altercation and somebody puts their hand on you first, yeah, you're allowed to retaliate to defend yourself and protect yourself. But that comes with limitations. And the limitations are the level of force that you can use to defend yourself must be of the same kind of force that's coming at you, which means if you hit me with your hands, I'm allowed to hit you with my hands, or push you with my hands, or use my body against your body. But if you hit me with your hands and it's a one-on-one fight, am I allowed to stab you with a deadly weapon or a weapon that could be considered deadly? No, I cannot use an increased level of force against you like with a deadly weapon, right? So that's an issue. That's going to be an issue for Karmelo. So you are allowed to respond the same kind of force being used against you, but you can't take it too far. So if I push you or I hit you, are you allowed to stab me? The answer to that really is a no, unless you're in such fear that you feel like that you had to fight for your life, which means, let's say, if there's 2 or 3 people pushing me and I got a knife, in that situation, I might be able to use that knife to ward those people off because it's an unfair fight. So I don't know what happened in the tent. A lot of of what happened at a 10 is going to be important, but you are allowed to respond kind of with the light force that's being used against you. You can't go overboard with it.
So they just had a protest there, and the guy that was there running the protest, he got arrested for trespassing on that track and field when he was actually doing that information. Were you aware of that?
Who
I
was
think his name was Jake something.
What's his name?
His name was Jake or something like that, where he was doing some recording of of the track that the whole thing happened on. I guess I don't think that they had it like taped off like a crime scene, but somehow he ended up on that track and field and was showing the blood of Austin Metcalf and videotaping that and and they I think they arrested him for trespassing.
Yeah,
and
well,
I
see,
thought
that's
that was interesting. I thought that track and field tracks were you can't really trespass. I mean, people be like working out at the tracks all the time.
Yeah, it just kind of depends on what kind of track that is. If it's owned by a university or school, typically you are able to use them if it's public. But even if it's a public track and it's closed to the public at the time that you're doing that, you're not allowed to be there, which means, let's say it's a public track or school track and a lot of people use it. But if it's closed off, or if it's shut down and you go past where you're supposed to be at the time it's shut down, you're not really allowed to be able to use that. So they can actually cite you for trespassing.
Okay, so another question that people had. I'm not sure that if anybody has really talked about this subject, but if say the brother Karmelo Anthony, if he actually goes in and has to serve time, hey, how's it going? Do you think that he is going to have a hard time staying alive in prison? Because if you know about prison, I've never been to prison, but I've heard like politically, right? You have like the Aryan Nation, then you have different gangs, you have all these different people, and so the moment that he gets in there, I think it's going to be a hard time even for him to stay alive in that situation.
I don't think so. I think there'll be enough African American people in there to make sure nothing happens to him. But my concern is this, and I say this to people all the time, and this may not be a popular opinion. A lot of people have made this racial. I don't know if it was racial or not. I wasn't in that tent. But I think that as adults, watching two 17-year-olds have this kind of altercation isn't it. When I say it isn't it, that's not the flex. When I say not the flex, is that something that we as adults, whether you black, white, or brown, is that something that we want to happen involving our 17-year-olds? And in particular, these two 17-year-olds, both of them seem to be good students. Both of them seem to be headed to college. I think one had a Division I scholarship. The other one had a Division II scholarship that they were going to be able to get. We know that Karmelo actually had a high grade point average and was a really good student. So is it worth you and I getting into it over some beef or a seat to where one of us ends up dead and the other one ends up fighting for his life, having a bond out of jail, all of this chaos at 17 years old? Is that really, as a public and as parents, that we want our youth being engaged in and being in these situations? And that's not it for me. Whether you're black or white, this is not what we want out of two 17-year-olds.
Right, exactly. And from a legal standpoint, if you imagine the amount of money it takes to even stay free in that situation. I mean, you being a criminal lawyer, that the money it takes to stay out of prison, to hire a lawyer in that circumstance. Can you kind of get into what it really takes to fight a case like this? Like, just financially, how much do you think that it's going to take to even try to keep him out of prison for the rest of his life?
The problem that we have is, number one, the bond alone initially was $250,000. Actually, it was $1 million. It got reduced to $250,000. So that's $25,000 to be able to get out of jail. Most people don't have $25,000 liquid that they can go pull. Now, granted, he was able to raise some money online, but let's think about this for a second. Do I want to be in a position where I got to spend $25,000 to $50,000 to get out of jail? And hiring a lawyer, because it's so high profile and it's going to take up so much of your time and people are going to know who you are. and people are going to be calling you, want updates, and you got to make sure your client's okay. And you got to manage this case on a daily basis. You're talking about a couple of $100,000, $200,000-$300,000 worth of legal fees on the low end, because every single day of your life you're dealing with this case.
Oh my God. So you think the lawyers probably can't even take another case at the time that they're doing this particular case?
It almost becomes that. And that's where the problem lies. I mean, people don't understand, oh, these lawyers are greedy. No, listen, when I take a case like this, I got to worry about media. I got to worry about my client. I got to make sure that he doesn't say anything wrong, do anything. I'm getting calls on a daily to get interviewed. I got to make sure I file my motions. I got to make sure I go to court. I got to manage some of the stuff that happens in public. Then I got to worry about myself, because now everybody knows who I am and they know I have this case. And then this case is priority. I can't mess it up. So I need to make sure, number one, that I do everything and anything that I can do to be where I'm supposed to be.
And you have to have a team to do it, because lawyers don't just work by themselves. Any good lawyer is going to have a great paralegal team beside them, like kind of pulling some of the laws and everything like that, doing some of the research to even be able to find the precedents to win a case like this.
And see, this is the thing too, and a lot of people don't think about this. You got to have a good team of lawyers, but you got to have your lawyers, number one, are the first people and only people really that you should be talking to. I know in this case that they got some public person, Mr. Alexander, doing some public relations stuff. I don't know what he's doing, but you got to be careful with that, because if he's around when they're talking about the case, number one, it destroys privilege between the lawyer and the attorney. The lawyer and the client. And number two, he can actually be called as a witness, because there's no privilege between him and the attorney and him and the client. And so there's a lot of stuff going on here that I don't like. Like, don't get me wrong, it's okay to have a public relations person, but when it comes to speaking on a case, anybody that's doing public relations should not be talking about the case, should not be doing press conferences. They shouldn't be doing any of that, because if you start to talk about things that happen when the client's talking to the lawyer, you can make yourself a witness and you could destroy a privilege. So you don't want to do that.
He did. Was he on like Real Life Street Stars, like that guy, that public relationship guy?
I think he was. I think he was. And don't get me wrong, I don't have anything personal against anybody, but if my license is on the line and my client's life is on the line, nobody's going to be speaking out, saying anything. That's not going to happen. You can kick rocks. You're going to be up out of there. I don't play that. So anybody trying to speak extra, trying to do all this extra talking, do all this extra stuff, if I'm handling that case, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to have it.
Yeah, I think that's a civil rights company, because I think they had something to do with George Floyd, like those. They're like a civil, what is it called? Like a grassroots organization.
And I get it. Listen, we love our grassroots organizations. They do great work. That's fine. That's dandy. I have nothing against our grassroots organizations, but that comes with limitations. They're not going to mess up this case. Whatever I need to make sure that I do or don't do, it's going to go through me. And when I say goes, and because I have to take care of the client, and I can't allow things to get out of control with in that area. So if I'm fighting a case like this, I'm not doing any press conferences. I'm not saying stuff that I'm talking about to the lawyer or to the particular client. If you have a press conference at all, it should be more of general of nature. Hey, don't believe the rumors. We just stay vigilant. It's going to be some very general statements. Hey, it's a tragic situation. We hate that it happened. We hate it for all the parties involved, but you don't get specific. You keep it very, very vanilla and very general. Anything above that, it should not be happening.
Yeah, and even like the kind of emotional, like tie, like the whole emotionality of it all. Like, I guess the father was trying to be there, and they said he was being disrespectful, and I think that kind of got out of control with that, because I'm like, at first he wasn't. I don't think he was there to challenge them in any way. I think he was there to support them and probably say, hey, whatever. I don't know, whatever the reason why.
And everybody has to understand a couple of things, right? Number one, you shouldn't be having that press conference. I don't care what I want to say. I mean, say what you want to say, but it's my client.
It should have been a press conference to begin with.
No press conference.
Exactly.
In addition to that man did lose his child. For whatever reason, for whatever we know or we don't know, he did lose his child. And to be having a press conference like it's a circus,
I don't think that's the flex. I don't think that's the move. I don't
Yeah.
think that's what we should be doing.
Mhm.
And so with that being said, and something, oh, he's acting like a bully just like his son did and all this other stuff. Man, look, let me
Yeah.
tell you something.
Oh, that's crazy.
Let me break something down to you. If the kid that died was black, what would we be doing? We would be marching up the streets.
Yes.
Everything will be on fire. We'd be ready to roll. So everybody has to understand we don't know if it's racial, but we do know, number one, that somebody lost their son at 17 years old that they expected to live a full life. We do know that another young man at 17 years old was arrested for it, and this young man had a bright future before either of them had this incident, or this altercation, or this them getting crosswired. So at the same time, everybody has to understand that everybody, you're a father, you're a mother, you're a brother or sister. When that happens to a sibling or a son or a grandson of yours, y'all know how we are as black folk. We're going to want to crash out. So don't get mad at somebody for crashing out behind their kid, because that's exactly what you would want to do. So I don't look at it from a standpoint of race right now. Could it have been race? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But without that being said, as a lawyer, we have to be very careful about how we throw race around, because as much as they are doing out there in Collin County, all you're doing is angering that jury pool. And that's not something that I think you want to do.
Exactly. Speaking of Collin County, what is your idea? What do you think that the chances? Because I mean, to me, it sounds like, because first of all, he was being charged with first degree. What do you think of the chances of them at least being able to reduce the charges to a manslaughter or a lesser charge?
That's what you would hope to try to get as an attorney. But one thing I will tell you, one of the issues that
hold on. Do you think they're going to offer him a plea deal?
Maybe, maybe not. It kind of depends on what the family wants. I'm not for sure. They might offer him a plea deal. But what I'm going to tell you is the reason why you don't have all this press conference and start kicking up all this dust is because you're messing up the ability to get a plea deal. You're fanning the flames of a fire that's already about to burn the house down. So that's why the case has to be managed properly, number one. Number two, when you start doing all of this additional stuff, then you reduce the possibility of having a plea bargain, because you continue to fan the flames, and you're making people angry. And now the DA's office has to start thinking about, well, as a public, I want to make sure that justice is handled, but at the same time, I don't want to go too hard or too soft. So the more you fan those flames, the more problems you cause for your client. And so that's why I said, in this type of situation, I think people should be very, very calm. I think you should not be having press conferences. I think that if you do have a press conference, you keep it very vanilla, but you got to be very, very careful, because the Collin County jury pool is different from Dallas County. They're more conservative out there. The population is a little different than it would be in Dallas County. They're more white, as opposed to Dallas County, which may be more white, black, and brown. They have a lot of conservative ways out there, so they're not going to be as accommodating when it comes to social justice issues. So we got to be aware of that. And then if you're in Dallas, and I think that the social justice organization is the Dallas organization, and you're going out to Collin County, you got to be aware that you're dealing with that particular issue. So you want to make sure that you do what you're supposed to do.
Right. So it sounds like to me like it probably would be, in this case, based on the information and the people that he's kind of going to be going up against, to probably take a plea, you know what I'm saying, of some sort. And
well, if number one, if they offer a plea, number one. Number two, it depends on where his head is at. See, my concern is everybody's telling him he has a full-fledged self-defense argument. And don't get me wrong, you do have a self-defense argument. I just think that going into their tent, and I don't know if it was a knife or a spike, because everybody says it's different, right? I don't know what it is. But if you're in their tent and you're going to claim self-defense, you're amongst their witnesses. Who's going to say something positive for you? You're in their tent. So, and that's hard, because if you have anybody that saw anything, or they're more likely to testify for Austin or they're more likely to testify for Karmelo Anthony. No, they're going to testify for Austin. It's their tent. He's the kid who
Right.
died. So you
Exactly.
got to be aware of those type of things before you just getting out here and start doing stuff. You got to think about everything.
Yeah, and so you know, and the whole objective is that and this is how we turn this into real life stuff, is the main thing that you do when you have a court case. Because it's one thing to talk about these things that are really like big high level things, but is even from a smaller level, is not to be on social media, not to be doing any kind of spectacle type of thing when you have a court case. Do not be out here on social media doing interviews or talking or any of that when you have this type of a case going, or any kind of a case going on. Is that what you would pretty much
That's
say?
exactly what I'm saying, and that's where I got a problem. I mean, when you think about it, we shouldn't, we got to keep it, you got to keep a cap on everything. You got to control everything. Your job as a lawyer is to put your client in the best position and win. And when I say put your client in the best position and win, you want to be out here doing all this extra stuff, doing all this extra talking, or putting yourself or people in positions to where maybe they'll say something wrong or do something wrong that may be perceived disrespectful, that may be perceived as arrogant, may be perceived as unsympathetic. We got to be extremely careful when you have these kind of cases, man. You need to have a tight ship. If you got a team of folks, you want to get a team of folks that's going to set you up to win. You got to be careful. You just can't run out there just doing whatever.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about is this Diddy case, you know, because that is a really high level, very, very public event, court case where you have a lot of like things that are out in the open. You have, I mean, this has been the most whimsical trial in court, like up to before the trial has even started or even close. There's so much going on. And this is not even, is this a criminal case or is this a civil case? And
No, number one, it's a criminal case, and Diddy has a lot of problems, and a lot of it stems from, it seems like, years and years and years of kind of questionable behavior, and then a lot of it has a lot of it. And you think about it, if all you're doing is partying and you're inviting people to all these parties, and you don't know who was what, where, and when, and then some
right,
of the
you
stuff,
high, you don't even
yeah,
remember what the hell happened to your damn self.
exactly. And you don't even know because you feel like you're untouchable and you've done all this stuff over the years. Man, that could be a problem. That could be a continuing problem. So that's the concern I have for this case. It ends up being a situation where there's so much to unwrap. There's so many different things. There's so many stories. And let's be honest, I mean, through the years, and I always tell people, like, how can all this happen and nobody say anything? And I know that people may look at me funny, but I'm like, man, somebody got to say something, because it gets to a point where you're complicit in the behavior if you're sitting and just watching it.
Yeah. And I think that even a situation came up about Cassie where she has a book that she tried to put out, but he owns the right to the book or something like that, where she can't put this book out. And because I guess when he gave her the 30,000,
30 million,
but
yeah.
So 30 million, it also gave him the right to any book that she could ever write in the future about to talk about what happened, something like that.
Yeah.
So do those rights still happen when you're in jail or prison? I mean, do you still have all these rights?
Because you signed an NDA saying that you would not disclose what happened, and if you take that money, you don't disclose what happened.
So what about when you go to court? So if a lawyer asks you about what happened, could you say I signed the NDA, or are you
but that's different, because that's a criminal trial. You know, you're not supposed to disclose it, but if they put you on the stand, you have to disclose it, because you have to testify, you know, truthfully.
Right. So NDA is nullified when something is criminal. Is that so?
Yeah.
That's where that. So does that mean across the board or only in a court case, or does that across the board that the fact that this whole thing is to be turned into a criminal situation is that
if it's
now
a criminal
null and
trial,
void,
then you can't say you can go in and testify, because you have to testify truthfully, number one. But if it's not a criminal case, you can't say a damn thing.
right?
NDA is an NDA, so anywhere else you can't say anything.
So but since it's a criminal case, does that make that NDA null and void now? And she can go on and write a book and
no, she can't do all of that. She can't do all that. If you testify in court cases, one, but the rest of stuff she can't go talking about in a court environment, because they're directing you to, you know, you have to answer, because you're under subpoena typically, that where you have to say what do you got to say. But
I think you got a phone call, y'all. Man, we're really getting deep, you guys. I hope that you guys like this information. If you guys have any questions, I mean, you have a lawyer right here. Any legal questions you guys can think of, I'm gonna ask them some things about like some of the Moorish things that people might be, as far as like, okay, if you get pulled over, do you have to identify yourself? Things like that. I want to really break down some of these misconceptions. But go ahead. You got a phone call?
No, don't worry about it. They got a call back.
Okay.
And then so that's kind of where it's at. But yeah, when it's an NDA, it's different. So you just gotta be careful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So just so you know, if you sign an NDA, you can't. That's so. So do you think so that could be a legal thing where he could then sue? He keeps getting phone calls.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, these people keep calling me. They're killing me. They're killing my emotion here. So let me make sure that we're good, y'all. Sorry about. Let me get this on here. Don't worry about it. We're good. I'm not gonna have no more interruptions.
Okay.
But what I'm telling you, when you sign an NDA, you mean outside of a courtroom where you're subpoenaed to testify, you're not supposed to say a damn thing. So they can book writing and show doing. That's it.
And that could like cost you a lot of money if you actually.
Yeah, they can go back and sue you for the money they paid you for. They paid you to shut up.
Wow. And so that's probably why he felt like he was above the law, because everybody that came to his party probably signed NDAs.
Yeah, they did, and that's the deal.
So he probably didn't realize that didn't transfer into a court like situation.
Yeah,
maybe that's the part that he didn't know.
Yeah,
that's probably why he felt untouchable.
Of course, and then the other part of it is if you paid them off, they're not supposed to say anything. And then on top of that, I mean, you're part of that scene. If you start talking on Diddy, other people might start thinking you're talking on them, and then you can make yourself to where nobody wants to deal with you. So a lot of this stuff is people want to be a part of that club, that clique, and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to say anything.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, this music industry and this Hollywood industry seems so corrupt, and so it's just crazy how it's coming out. Like now you have this whole Big U, come to find out he had a hand in Nipsey Hussle's passing, something like that.
I'll tell y'all this, look, and I don't want to slander Big U, but because I don't know, and as a lawyer, I got to be careful about what I say about this man. But his look was always off. I always figured he did say had something to do with it. I felt like, can I prove it? No. But his look, he has a very, very deceitful look, and I could tell that his energy and Nipsey energy didn't match. And when I look in Big U's eyes, man, he looked guilty to me. He's the kind of guy, I told you I grew up in the hood, so he's the kind of guy where if I see him, I can do no business with him. I don't want to be around him. I can't do nothing with him. I don't want to be around him. He can't see. He can't sell me a 3-cent piece of bubble gum because his look tells me that he hides something. He's deceitful. That he uses people. He just has a look. He has a look of just deceit. And so I couldn't rock with him. I told him it's crazy. I was telling my wife we were arguing. I said, man, I said, she was thinking, oh, the industry killed Nipsey and all this stuff. I said, nah, man, Big U did it. I kept telling her.
You knew, like you already. Wow.
I look in his face. I can tell. I see. One thing growing up in Dixon Circle, like we learned quickly, you got to be able to eyeball folk. You got. And so I was like, man, I feel like that dude did that. Like I said, it's my allegations, how I feel about it, but I just felt like he had something to do with it.
But I mean, being a lawyer who deals with a lot of criminal cases, I'm sure you dealt with murderers, people who are facing that. You could kind of like be able to look and see the something within the person's eyes.
Everybody's hood had somebody who would try to press you, right? Try to make you, give them this and them that. Everybody's hood had a bully, right? And in Big U's situation, he's a bully around people that got money. So he's trying to bully people so he can continue to get money. I mean, people really need to understand who Big U is. Do you know what movie character that Big U is framed after, right?
What, Debo?
Yeah. So think about it for a minute.
So Big U is Debo. So they use, so Debo was an actual character of the real movie Friday. Debo, that was actually
Tiny Zeus. If you ask Tiny Zeus Liston when he was living, Big U was Debo.
What?
Yeah.
Give me your money. You know what I'm saying? Just wow.
So when you think about that, and then when you think about the kind of money that Nipsey was making, and probably You know, I always figure that like the hood is a little different. I was like, man, I bet you Big U pressing him for money. I bet you Big U trying to make him pay for protection. And I
Mhm.
know, and that's probably what he was doing. And
Hmm.
I remember when at first the girl had control of the baby that Nipsey had. Remember the daughter that Nipsey had that
Mhm.
out for London's, right?
Yeah.
And so I I it seemed like the mother tried to fight hard to keep control of the kid, and they wanted Lauren London and Black Sam to have control of the kid because what I was told that Nips that Big U is somehow related to that girl through some other
Mhm.
people, and they were going to try to control Nipsey's money and estate by having the baby in her possession. And I figured that, and I even thought about why the Marathon clothing store closed. It closed because Black Sam probably knew if I keep this open, it's gonna make a whole lot of money. But then Big U them gonna be trying to come press me, trying to make me pay protection, or they're gonna try to do something in my spot. So that's why they just closed it. I'm no
So
fool,
so
obviously.
so is that whole thing? Is it so? Is it because that Nipsey wasn't he? So I think he's part of the Rolling 60s, right? Is that
Yeah,
what this was?
yeah.
And what was Nipsey just not a Rolling 60? Was he another gang?
No,
Why would he have to pay for protect? Or he wasn't in no gang,
no,
and
he
you have to pay
always he
protection?
Nipsey was the 60, but you got to understand, Nipsey broke a rule. When I say broke a rule, you never could become bigger than the set, right? So when I say become bigger than the set, Nipsey was so big, had so much power and so much love that he was bigger than the set. He was bigger than Big U. He's bigger than the gang. He's bigger than all of it. Like Nipsey,
Mm,
I want people to understand, right? I didn't jump on Nipsey because he got killed. I was on Nipsey Hustle 3 or 4 years before he got killed. I'm listening
mm,
to music. I'm watching his interviews. I'm like, man, this is a good dude. This dude,
right.
he thinking about things. He has a pretty neat perspective. I'd be like, people will know his music a little bit. They'll just know the music from the videos. No, I know the other songs, like Perfect 10, where he's talking about people being solid. He
Mhm.
like that's when I knew he has a song called "That's When I Knew That I Was Different," and he talks about just responding to when people are being racist and how black people we gotta watch how we respond to racism, because sometimes we respond too strongly and we gotta control ourselves. We gotta understand that is a form of control within itself that always flying off because somebody's being racist. Man, you got to control your thoughts and your body and your mind. So
Mm,
Nipsey's on a whole nother level, man. Like I look up to Nipsey, and
mm,
and I'm a lawyer, and I'm 50 something years old. I looked up to Nipsey because I
right.
saw what he was doing with the community. I saw he really loved that community, and he loved the people that were around him. There was a thing called a Midas touch where he took this old man who used to sweep the parking lot and wash his windows. Man, he gave that guy like a fantasy day, man. He bought him a gold chain, bought him a watch, bought him a ring, got his hair cut, bought him a Tom Ford suit, took him to the Oceanaire, got his nails and feet done, got him a massage, and then told him at the end, Bruce, you don't got to live on the street no more and push a buggy. We got an apartment for you. You all money in now. We're going to take care of you. He did that for an old man who just happened to wash his windows and sweep the parking lot where his business was. Man, when you see a guy like that, man, I respect that.
Wow. And I guess it was you think it was about a jealousy thing, or more like,
Oh,
why
it's
do you think but you think it
power.
was a money situation or a jealousy thing?
It's money and power. Listen, you Nipsey Hustle, you roll up. They're not looking at Big U anymore. They're looking at
Mm,
Nipsey. I mean, look, I'm a
wow.
lawyer and I'm looking at Nipsey. Think about what people on the street gonna look at him. People
Mm,
looking at like, man, hey man, you're doing it. You're buying the hood back. You're opening a shopping center. You're helping people. Man, listen, he come around shining, driving the Maybach, got all the jewelry, got all the clothes, got all the swag. Come on, man. Nobody
somebody
looking at
says
Big
it
U.
was the government. Who knows? Could Big U be getting like kind of like kickback from the government to
Look,
kind of keep the neighborhood in check?
sometimes we like to say it's the government. Now it was us.
Mm,
Big U being jealous of this man.
mm,
That's what I think. I mean, should I be saying that openly? I don't try to spit on nobody's name. I don't know Big U. I don't know those people. But it's us sometimes.
right.
Ain't the, sometimes it's just us not handling what we need to handle in our own communities. We want to point to the government all we can. We can't control what the government going to do, but we control what we do.
Right.
And my whole deal is this was a us situation. It had nothing to do with the government.
And I know that you probably don't want to go too far into this, but it seems like this hip hop thing, it goes deeper because they had this. Well, I'm not going to go into that just yet. The biggest part is like they had this whole thing of checking in, right?
Yeah.
Check in to come to different places. That's what I thought this whole thing with this big youth thing was. It's like a thing where you got to continuously check in.
Let me take you, man. You checking in. Honestly, the only thing you do is checking in for them folks to rob you later. See, I just could never check in because I don't know the guys. Like I mean,
even what's his name? The Migos, the dude that passed away, that got killed in Houston.
Pop Smoke.
Yeah,
no, I remember what happened to Pop Smoke, man. Checking in.
He wouldn't check in. Yeah,
I'm not checking in. You check in, and the next thing you know, these people hunting you down, trying to take your stuff. Man, you got to be careful. These folks will get you out here, and then you have to think about it. Why would I check in with somebody? He can easily tell somebody else to come rob me.
So explain what checking in is. You got to give people money to come to their town.
Basically, you're giving people money, or you're spending money with them, or you're taking them out, you're hanging out, you're providing some kind of benefit to them, typically. Now, is it always the case? Sometimes it's just people showing love. Like if you're in New York and I come to Texas and we cool, I'm going to show you a good time. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, Jay Prince, when Jay-Z and them came down here initially back in the day, and Jay-Z didn't have it like that. Jay Prince would loan them his Bentleys and his Rolls Royce. Man, you're in town, you can go ahead and use it. You can use my car. Mm. Sometimes it's showing love. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's showing love, but then sometimes it's straight up, extortion. So
I think that's how it was in Detroit. Like I think with Trick and those guys, it was like you got to pay, break bread before you could do any show in Detroit type of situation. I think he started check-in. Was it Trick that started check-in?
Trick's a G. He's an OG. I heard he was doing some of that up there, but that kind of happens. You got to be careful. And these neighborhoods nowadays, man, every neighborhood got somebody that will get you. You just got to be careful. You can't be going back to places and putting yourself in positions where, you're not safe. And, sometimes, and me, I love my community. I go back and I help and I work. But people have to start thinking about that kind of stuff. I mean, when Nipsey got killed, man, it hurt in so many ways. It didn't just hurt to watch this man die. It hurt because a lot of us who love the community, who give back to the community, look at Nipsey and say, man, the community played a part in costing this man his life. Mm. And he got kids and a girlfriend and a mama and a brother that love him and a whole world that love him. And now they can't enjoy him no more because the hood killed him. And I'm going to tell you something. We always got to be aware of that. I can't say that I don't think about it because, listen, I love my community. I love South Dallas to the heart. Like I'm South Dallas all day. I rep the city. I rep my neighborhoods, Bunton, Dixon Circle, all of South Dallas. I love y'all. But at the same time, don't say I don't think about, hey, I got to be careful because I'm going to be honest. Like, look, like what I've been able to accomplish, very few people have been able to do from the community. I mean, when you think about it, Bunton and Dixon, two of the hardest hoods in South Dallas. I grew up in both of them. I college, played a little basketball, and grew up with Larry Johnson, ended up going to college and graduating, going to law school, graduating. Ended up growing up with Larry Johnson, of course, watching him go to the NBA draft. And as a lawyer, I went to the NBA draft for Chris Bosh. Think about that. Like, all from South Dallas.
Right.
Me and Larry Johnson were together about 4 or 5 weeks ago. He went into the Texas Black Sports Hall of Fame, and I sat with him while he was going in and while he was getting ready to do his interviews. And the night that he was at the function, I sat with him the entire night. It's because I know him, and he's a friend of mine, and he's somebody that I looked up to. He my OG. I consider him my OG. Him and a guy named Joe Mack from Nemesis. Those are my guys. They're my street guys that I say, hey, look, I looked up to them. Larry was one. Joe Mack was one. And Aloysius Jabber was one of the guys I told you who kind of pulled me to the side and told me to stay out the way and don't be getting in trouble. I look at those guys as OGs, man, in a sense, from my community. So that's kind of where I'm from. That's kind of the way I look at things. But, watching what happened in Nipsey and watch that community how much it hurt to lose him. I remember one lady crying when Nipsey got killed, and she said, "You don't understand, like you don't understand how much he meant to us."
Mm.
When you got somebody like Nipsey, I'm gonna break something down to you, right? Growing up with Larry Johnson, it's the equivalent in a sense. When I say it's the equivalent in a sense, watching Larry Johnson get out of Dixon Circle in the crack era gave us hope.
Right.
It gave us hope, man. I mean, when you look around and everybody is selling dope and things are walking the street at 2 or 3 and 4 in the morning, and you seeing this every day, and then Larry comes along like a white knight, ends up going to college, playing for UNLV, top basketball player in the country, NBA draft, plays for the Charlotte Hornets, gets drafted, doing TV commercials. Man, when you see that and you in a neighborhood where nothing else positive happens for the most part, man, that becomes your motivation, man. You become the light in the sky.
Yeah.
Nipsey was their light in their sky.
Right.
So you got to start thinking about those kind of things, and those are the kind of things that I talk about when I talk community, right? You know, everybody's a light in the community when you do something. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't realize this until somebody told me this. Man, Calvin, we watching you. Said, bro, you one of them ones, you one of them dudes. I'm like, for what? Like, man, you made it out, man. Listen, you walk these streets with us every day. You in the hood with us every day. Man, you done been to a draft. You done been to NBA stuff. You all on TV. You're in a movie. I'm in a movie right now called He Never Came Home. It's a social justice documentary. Go to Prime Video and watch it. Shout out to A.L. Smith, the director and maker of the movie. Shout out to Charles Harper, who's also a consultant in the movie. But I'm actually in a movie. So a black kid from South Dallas, Bunton, Dixon Circle. I do all these things, and I'm blessed.
And I'm glad that I'm glad you brought up Dallas, because it seems like Dallas has so much jealousy that happens to people. It's hard to see people even make it out of here. The whole situation that even occurred with Mo3, Yellow Beezy, and I think his name, I forget the other guy, the comedian. I'm not really. I came to Dallas after a lot of those things was happening, so I don't really know. It's like something Freddie. And something.
I know a lot about the situation. I won't speak on it a lot because I know some of the people.
Right. Yeah.
And I shared that
with I just mainly want to it doesn't have to be directly about the cases be involved with those, because I know, but mainly I'm just saying it seemed like it was a very tumultuous thing, just all based on who was from where. Was that really the argument? Was it? I mean, because a person that's not in the hip hop world is looking at this and did you guys really kill each other over who's from Oak Cliff and who's from South Dallas and who's from this place and who's from that place? Is that really what caused
it's a lot deeper than that? It's a lot deeper than that. There's a lot of relationships that are I would tell people, like, one of the guys in the community, like a lot of people are tied in different ways. Like, for example, one of the guys in the community, Bubba, that got killed, I knew him. He's from my neighborhood. I know some of Yellow Beezy's people. One of my is a DJ for Yellow Beezy at times. So I know a lot of people involved. I mean, I have a musical artist that has a song with Yellow Beezy and Mo3. So, my artist, Seven the Great, has a song with Mo3, and he has a song with Yellow Beezy, Mo3 and Yellow Beezy. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that intertwine. I knew who Roy Lee was through another one of his relatives. And so there's a lot to be said. There's a lot of relationships. It's not cut and dry. There's a lot of relationships that kind of twist amongst each other, because a lot of people know, a lot of people knew of a lot of the people that were involved in that. And so it's
hard to talk about it, right?
Yeah, I can't even really talk about it no more, because you can't. I don't have enough time to make people understand that there's so many relationships that are intertwined in that situation that you would it's like a twisted ball of wire where
I think, did you get another phone call again? I can't hear your sound. Your sound isn't working. Okay. I think he's gonna come back up. Somebody called him in the middle of that. Maybe somebody watching this call. I'm like, oh, what you talking about? But I had to ask him because I'm like, he's from Dallas, and I just wanted to kind of know, is this really about something really trivial, or is this deeper than that? And that's the main thing, is the way deeper connections, ties. But the main part I wanted to get across was that about the whole how trivial things, and how treacherous this music industry could be. When people start getting fame and fortune and things like that, a lot of it brings especially when you got the street element to it, and that's the part of the industry that I don't know why they want to mix the streets up into the entertainment. And then that's where you get a lot of like these unfortunate events that's happening. So I'm hoping that he's gonna be able to come back and we didn't lose him all the way. Yeah, unfortunately, he's a very busy attorney, so it's hard to thank you. I hope he'll be able to come back and finish up the interview, because here he comes. Was that some of the people we were talking about? They said, "Oh, cut the interview."
Yeah, man, and then as them people stopping us, right, letting it get out, right? No, but listen, there's a lot of relationships that I really don't talk about because I just know too much about the people, and I wish everybody the best. I hate everything that happened, but at the same time, I think in situations like this, what you hope is that people get along and understand that they got one shot, they got an opportunity to put the city on the map. And I would have preferred people get along, make their money, and keep pushing. But
do you think that Dallas has a problem with because what I was saying is, it seems like a lot of artists, when they get to a certain point in Dallas, and they're in that mixture of the street culture gets, well, that's not even just Dallas, because that's exactly what happened with the Nipsey Hussle situation. It's like the mix of the streets along with the rap business, it just turns it into like something else.
I just think that sometimes we don't support each other enough. And you got to be careful, because somebody told me people want to see you do good, but just not better than them.
Don't outshine the master.
Yeah, and see, one of the problems, and I've always said this to people, like even myself, like I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody else, but I've accomplished a lot. I'm one of those guys where I could say, look, I set out to do something, and I did it. Like I set out to become an attorney. I did it. I told myself I was going to go to the NBA draft. I didn't go as a player, but I went as a lawyer. I did it. I told myself I'm going to open my own business. I did it. So, everybody's not happy that you did everything you said you was going to do.
Wait, you used to play basketball?
Yeah, I just play basketball. Like
what?
I spend more time. I spend more time. The two things I spend my time doing in my life, the main two, was playing basketball and becoming a lawyer. Those are the two things I most time doing. I spend more time on the basketball court and the courtroom than any other.
So you were trying to make it into the NBA at some point, but
of course. But then I have to understand there's not a lot of 5'10" point guards that don't jump out the gym. Even if you jump out the gym, you're 1 in a million. So
hey, wait, hold on. Bow-legged or knock knee? Which one? I think you pigeon toe. Wait, are you pigeon toe?
Yep.
Knees, but you would have had that knee issue that everybody gets.
I've had 2 knee surgeries. I mean, I've had issues. I mean,
yeah, I forget it's a certain tendon or whatever that always messes up on people like us.
And then back in the day, we were playing on a lot of concrete. We didn't have all these gyms and these luxuries that today's player has. So that's a whole nother thing within itself. But Monica, I got to get going.
Okay.
I'm glad we had this talk. We can get together again in a couple of weeks. I got some other stuff I'm going to do with you, but once again, I appreciate DJ Genesis. I appreciate everybody for watching our show tonight. I've been on several times.
How do we contact you? Calvin Johnson, we're going to contact him. If you need something, 565-5600. If you have any criminal issues going on in the Dallas County area, like I said, we talked about, you all do entertainment law as well.
Yes, I do entertainment law. I help our musical artists, rap artists. Shout out to my guy, 7 the Great.
and Poofy Man, his producer. Shout out to everybody. And I do a lot of stuff for people. I actually I got a website called www.theywon'tletmeout.com. I'm on several podcasts. I'm always on the people's podcasts for the most part, but I love yours, DJ Genesis. I'm going to be on Dorothy Burton's podcast pretty soon, later on this week, talking about the Karmelo case. We're going to go in depth, like some of what I did today. But once again,
I definitely want to do the next one. I wanted to get into the Adam 22 situation and like how these podcasts kind of put people in a bad spot, even the Vlad TV podcasts and things like that. So that's, I wanted to get into that, but I know you got to go. But yeah,
we're going to get into that one. That's going to be a whole show. So the next time we do it, we're going to do it on people talking too much, telling too much, saying too much
on these podcasts. Right, do it. Hey,
Joe say you're doing too much.
right. And hold on, did you see that Vlad actually apologized to Farrakhan yesterday on Willie?
Yeah, he had to, because a lot of people will not deal with him, and when you disrespect a guy like Farrakhan, people are not having it. I mean, I'm not a Muslim, and I may not believe everything that Mr. Farrakhan says, but I have great respect for that man, and I think he's a very knowledgeable man. I think he's a very smart man. And he's somebody that's very important to the culture. So even though I'm not a Muslim, I bow my head to the Minister Farrakhan, because I respect him so much.
Right, you're right. The person that made the Million Man March even happen. Come on now.
Exactly.
The power to bring that many people together is just amazing. So yes, we gotta give respect to them. I know you got somewhere to go. I can already feel your angst. You're tapping your foot like I gotta get out of here.
I know it, because I gotta make some calls. But listen, I enjoyed your show. Girl, we'll do this again. Love you.
Love you too.
Keep providing the services for the community and the content for the people that are watching. Everybody support DJ Genesis. I mean, she got a Cash App. I know you got Giselle, all that other stuff. Hey, help her do what she does. Help her continue to do what she does, because she's doing a great job.
Thank you so much. And subscribe, you guys. Make sure you subscribe. Hey, this is my Cash App, y'all. Go ahead, hit it up.
Hit it up. Yeah, like exactly. Taking donations. All right. Take
care. All right, much love. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alchemize your energy, darling. Let your spirit be free. Don't give up. Keep on pushing through. Now is the time. It's all up to you. Alchemize your energy, my friend. Let your spirit be free. Don't give up. Keep on pushing through. Now is the time. It's all up to you. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, we will always take flight. Keep on pushing through the darkness of night. There's no limit, let's reach for the sky. Shine so bright, from darkness to light.